Afternoon all, how are we all doing? Afternoon everybody, Harold, Peter, JC, Ian, Figilia, it's time, John, Brian, Stefan. How are we doing? Not a lot moved today, is it? Bit of a sideways one. Still gone nowhere on the Euro Swiss that I'm in. Taken 2 trades this morning on Aussie US and Aussie CAD. Going up, but not gone particularly far. News hasn't done much this afternoon. We've had lots of news this afternoon, the Canadian dollar GDP and figures for the US for PCE, but they were nothing exciting. German CPI came out as expected. GDP for CAD came out as expected. PCE for the US came out as expected. Blech. So nothing today. No news that's exciting at all. Yeah. Dull. Not a lot. Yeah. Dull. So I banked 0.4% today, got back most of yesterday's loss, which was taken as, that was basically an aggressive drawdown control position that didn't work yesterday on the Euro Swiss. So yeah, meh. It's all meh. We went through all the ADRs this morning. Nothing much else has hit ADR. There's been a fair amount of movement today to ADR, but what we've got is basically, as you can see, lots of 100% ADR hits on things, which is basically just it's moved its normal daily range. So there's potential reversals from them. But apart from that yen movement, which is undoing at the moment, so it's sort of trying to undo the yen movement, but don't know. Tricky. I've done most of it on the euro and the pound, but US and the New Zealand pairs are kind of in there, but I don't know. It's all a bit meh today. Nothing much moving much. So, afternoon, Marco, Burke, Christian, Day Trader FX, EMAC, Colonel. Afternoon, Monkey. Morning, terrible. Missed the yen drop. Missed the rise. Trapped in these yens. Need these yens to come down. You mean down as in everything against the yen coming down? I think you'd be all right there. I don't think this is an overreaction, this move and then this continuation. I think that's warranted, but I don't know. We'll wait and see. I'm undecided. I think the yen will power up. Brian, NT8 ORB just draws lines. Okay. I thought you were using NT on your futures account. No, I use Tradeovate and Jigsaw to trade futures. Never used. Well, I have used NT8 Ninja Trader, but don't like it. Don't like it. Thoughts on gold? Not a lot today. Gold's basically. Obviously, we've had the big drop on US dollar strength. It's pulling back at the moment, but if we continue to get this US dollar strength, which is again very debatable, downward, but I don't know. You got lovely big propulsion gap targets up here. So I mean, obviously, it's retested that, and they've added back into their shorts. So whether or not there's enough sellers there to continue that move to the downside. So this is basically just a flag waiting to break, as far as I'm concerned. So it could potentially go all the way up into here, but the only thing we've got this afternoon to drive this is the Michigan at 3, which doesn't really do a lot. So it's going to be a short session this afternoon, I think, unless we get some explosive move that is going to keep me interested this afternoon. It's one of those days, isn't it? Afternoon, Lens. Colonel Pinecone. I'm long 1957 on gold. I've got 3 minutes to the open. You're long 1957, so you're in drawdown. Might work. I mean, it could well just do a complete V-shaped recovery on this move. The trouble with the US dollar is when it gets these rallies, it can't sustain them. There's no sustained strength in the US dollar. It pumps and then it completely reverts all the time. That's what it basically is doing constantly. Yeah, so you get the big pump, and then nah, don't like it, and then it like rallies like crazy, nah, undoes it all. Just can't get any traction. The US dollar just can't get traction at all. So that big push yesterday, it's undoing the whole lot. Market's got no faith in it. It's terminal rate. This is what worries me a little bit about this euro. The fact that they've mentioned the words terminal rate today on Financial Juice. There's, 3 ECB members mentioned the same thing. There's obviously something going on that Lagarde didn't say yesterday that could potentially mean that the euro is reaching its terminal rate at 4.25%, but it doesn't seem enough. Not with the fundamentals. They seem a lot more confident in getting this inflation figure down to 2% within a year than the US, and their interest rates are smaller. I just can't see them being there within 12 months. I don't know. You're wrong. Probably am. What do I know? I'm not an economist, but maybe they're doing something right. You would think that a continent and a currency that is basically catching fire and everybody's going, I'm not going on holiday there anymore, may have a little dip in their economy and weaken their currency. But, call me old-fashioned, but when people evacuate a country that is catching fire, you tend not to go back. I'm going on holiday to Croatia at the end of this month. Maybe. We'll see if it's on fire or not. Anyway, happy Friday, David. You're the best. I know. What a wonderful 2 weeks on my live funded account. Up 16%. Good job. Bloody hell. That's a good game. Bank it. Take it. Withdraw it. Don't let it go. Afternoon, Stevie. Right, let's look at the open. We're off. So we're long S&P. No entry yet on the Dow. No entry yet on the NASDAQ. Whipsaw today on the DAX. Pretty much done the rest of the market today. It's just done a lot since we had all that volatility come through. So I've got a new version of the EA that I'm working on. So it's got the open lines there, obviously, for the range that it's trading, and it's now plotting automatically basically multipliers. So that is 1R, 2R, 3R, just so I don't have to keep drawing it on the chart. I will label these lines as well, but just so that I can actually see where 1R is and etc. Makes it easier to take. I've just tidied up that a little bit, but long on the Dow. Long on the Dow, short the NASDAQ, long the S&P. NASDAQ looks like it wants to go as well. So that's 1R. Good, isn't it? Don't have to put my measuring stick on. So Dow's gone long, S&P's gone long. NASDAQ's triggered the short entry, but not anywhere near as strong as the rest at the moment. We'll see how we go there. Right. Not a particularly strong break. The Dow is the only one that's got a good break today. So we're reacting off the back of the earnings from Ford, Intel, Roku, and obviously these pre-markets today. All pluses pretty much across the board. So should be seeing some pops. Most of these are Dow Jones stocks. So it makes sense that we're popping on the Dow. There's a few NASDAQs in there as well. So I was expecting actually a bit more of a break to the upside on the NAS, but it hasn't happened yet. Doesn't look like there's a massive amount of volume in here, but Dow's going nicely. So the Dow's up at ADR as well. So look at where we are. Today in the Globex session, we've had a bit of a rally up. ADR is not far away, but upside risks basically are here, and then we're off to 150 ADR. So that's going to take quite a bit to get up there, obviously. But if we can get a hit on ADR today, I think I'd probably be happy with that, but it doesn't look like it's going to. It's withdrawing at the minute. Hedged on the NASDAQ. Whippy open again. I'll come back to that in a minute. Not going anywhere. Right. So ADRs, there's a lot of ADRs today to have a look at. Don't forget, inflation is only transitionary. It is transitionary. But it's high. They need to get it down. The only tool that they seem to be using at the moment is interest rates. They keep going on about, we have lots of tools in our toolbox to deal with inflation. Yet every time we get an inflation rise, they just go, interest rates. And it just screws everything up. The euro are the only people that have actually managed to use anything else, but it's just not working. But anyway, we'll see. What is a comfortable trailing stop on the DAX that you are happy with? I don't use them. Don't use trading stops. If you want to, I don't know. Pick a percentage of the ADR. So ADR on the DAX is 1535 at the moment. So pick a percentage of that, maybe a quarter of an ADR. I don't know. The problem with trading stops is you'll get stopped out. So I don't use them because I don't want to get stopped out. There is no answer to that question. So hedged on the Dow, hedged on the NASDAQ. S&P looks like it's going to hedge me. So basically just waiting for this to actually pick a direction today. Guaranteed 3 losses. Hopefully we'll get 3 wins. Bit of a whipsaw. So 5-minute ORB is in there. So there's your 5-minute ranges. So if you're taking the 5-minute ORB, you're a short across the board. Actually, you're not short on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's still inside bar, but you'd be short the S&P and short the Dow. Oh yeah, I'm using wider stops, that's why. NASDAQ's really stuck. Others are all going short. So Dow's coming down. So let's have a look at where we're potentially going on the Dow. Anything moving at the minute. So downside on the Dow, looking at yesterday's low, which is ADR today. So there's your low, previous lows there, yesterday's low, and ADR. So if we're going to the downside, that's where we'd be looking for. We got this little low from the previous day in there, which is that previous resistance. Which we bounced off again already today. So potentially we might get a bounce somewhere around that previous day's low. But if it breaks that, nothing to stop it until ADR today. But that's a hell of a rejection to the downside. Look, good short today. A lot of sellers in the market. So we'll see if we can get a run today on the Dow. But other than that, the rest of it looks a little whippy at the minute. Does look short though. Everything's going short at the moment. Right, come back to that in a minute. ADRs, obviously there's loads. I'm not going to go through every single ADR today. The yens, basically, I would just leave them all alone at the minute. They're all today was basically 200% ADR in both directions. So none of the yens today are actually ADR hits. They are all ADR hits, but all the ADR hits happened within 2 hours. So you were in, you were out, and you were done, or you weren't in them at all today. So we're waiting to see what happens with the yen. I suspect we're just going to get a pullback and then a drop next week. So be looking for short opportunities on these yens, ideally, rather than longs. So looking at the RSIs, there's nothing extended. What we've had over the last few days is a hell of a lot of movement up and down, but really no direction anywhere. So it's been a volatile week, but there's nothing that's got really, really, really stretched this week. So pound odd is your only thing that's extended on RSI at the moment. It's up just above the 70 level. So that looks like a good opportunity for a short, but I'd be much more interested in taking longs on it. So you are going to get a potential pullback on that move. So that's a good looking reversal alert potentially on M5. You drop down. You've had one this morning in here, which would have been there. That would have been your first alert this morning. And you're about to get a second one today there if it doesn't make a new high. So roughly the same level basically for a short. And then obviously just wait for sort of half an ADR movement or an ADR movement to the downside. So from there, you're looking somewhere in the region of 160. So an ADR roughly brings you back down into that resistance, potentially support. So that's the only thing we've got extended on the RSIs at the moment. Everything else basically is UK. UK, oh, sorry, I was just reading your comment, is 4-hour RSIs. Are you in the USA? No. Do I sound like I'm from the USA? That was really bad American accent, wasn't it? No, I'm in the UK. Afternoon, Michael. So quickly looking at the RSIs, we got the odd CAD, same as this morning, basically. If you were here this morning, I'm just going to repeat myself because nothing's moved in the last 8 hours. We're extended on the 4-hour. I have a long on this. TP is up at resistance or potential resistance, which is that previous support. It could well push up higher, but so Aussie CAD long on. That's off the H1M5 mean reversion. So there's your hourly RSI extension, and your 5-minute reversal alert this morning was there. There's my entry, and I should be off up there. So Aussie CAD extended on the 4-hour. Aussie dollar yen. Yes. So Aussie yen, this did get extended on the hourly, but because it was part of that yen movement this morning, the pullback actually happened before we got a reading on the RSI. So the reversal alert wasn't triggered, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't particularly want to be long on it, but you did get an alert this morning on this. It's just, it's an absolute mess, this thing, because of what happened with the news. So you can see the reversal alert triggered there, which is absolutely miles away from where the RSI trigger was. So by the time it actually gave you the alert, the RSI was nowhere near extended. So it just wasn't an entry, basically. So I'd leave all these Aussies, these yens until next week, basically, and trade them next week. Pound CAD extended to the pound odd. I was going to say pound CAD is not extended. Pound odd extended to the upside, 4-hour. Only just got extended though. It's highly likely you're going to get a pullback on this move into there or back into that propulsion gap. Failing that, if you scale in here and it does go, then you've got your second entry up there and scale out when it takes that move. By then you should have an hourly RSI extension as well, which you will. So if we do push up into that weekly resistance, I shall be getting a short on the RSI extension on the 5-minute reversal alert. That's the one that's extended on the hourly, but not quite above that 25. It's debatable. It's takeable, this, I think, today, if it does break, but I'd much rather see it just put that little bit of extra effort in, get another half an ADR out of it, 80 pips up to that weekly, and then come off that weekly. New Zealand dollar yen again, same thing. I'd leave the yens. Difficult to tell. Probably looking for RSI extensions to the upside for sells. I don't think we'll get RSI extensions to the upside on these. I don't think it will get to push back far enough, but you never know. This might be a completely fake move. They may not buy the yen back up again, and it might just trickle away. So we'll see. But that's it. There's nothing extended. It's been a really difficult week to get any exposure on this week, but just over 2% banked, which is all right. It'll do. NASDAQ's gone long. S&P's gone long. Stopped out on both. Double-ended. Just utter whipsaws. What is going on today? Whipsaw City. Loss after loss. Nightmare. So, redeeming feature will be if the NASDAQ rallies. Want the Dow to drop, though. This Dow, look at this move on the Dow. State of it, look. Huge candle. Huge candle. Back to where we started. Just absolute chaos today. Come on, NASDAQ. I need you to bring the bacon home today. Only thing worse is my British accent. Yeah. I'm normally quite good at accents. I'm not very good at American accents. Afternoon from Pontevedra. Maybe the weather is the same in London. Raining? No, it's actually starting to clear up here. Finally. I was wondering how you're able to trade London and New York session without being sleepy. Well, because I wake up for the London session. I'm in the UK. We get to trade both sessions. So I wake up, I have breakfast. The market opens at 8 o'clock my time. Go through. Then 2:30 my time in the afternoon. I'm trading New York. And then after the first 3 hours and New York's finished, I go and have my dinner and stop for the day. If you want to trade, living in Europe or London are the best locations to be in the world because you've got the two busiest sessions where 85% of all Forex transactions and stock injection actions happen while you're wide awake. Anywhere else in the world, you're stuffed. Best place to live for trading. Worst place to live for everything else. Leon, rubber bands. Okay. Bit cryptic. Day trader effects. End of the month. Yeah, it is the end of the month. Monday's the end of the month. So you quite often get an awful lot of movement end of month. It's not end of quarter, though. So, January, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, it's first month of the quarter. So it's not a quarterly reporting period. So, but it's just, we are, if you look at the charts a minute, we are just range bound, so range bound on so many instruments at the minute. We've had these squeezes, and this last 2 weeks, we've just been rangy. The yen is the only thing that's obviously had some life. The US dollars had a lot of news and a lot of movement, but no direction. So it's just shocking at the minute. Which is good because it makes the live stream nice and short. There's nothing to analyze because nothing's moving. Which is good for me. So still short on the Dow, still long on the NAS. Just waiting to see if we can get a new high made on the NAS. We're up at ADR now on the NASDAQ. So we are up at the ADR high. So we will be starting to run out of a little bit of steam potentially now, but see if we can get up to there, it would be very handy. Need to get a TP on something today. 3 a.m. London for me. It's rough. Yeah, I know. This is the trouble. You missed the London session. Mind you, you've got 3 indices to play around with in the afternoon or in the New York session, which is great. You only get 1 to play around with, or 2 if you want to trade the FTSE at Frankfurt. So Euro Swiss is trying to make a break, is it? Wish something would. That would be the one that I would want to break. Yeah, here we go. So just going for the high of the day on the Euro Swiss. So this is the level here that we're looking for a break of. Break and hold, basically. So that's the double top after the drop. So we're looking for a pullback into potential support stroke resistance up in that propulsion gap there. So we've had an attempt there, an attempt there, an attempt there, an attempt there, all failed. Sellers stepping on the gas, basically not letting that level go. Yeah, so they added after the drop propulsion, they added back into the moves. Haven't managed to get a break of this level, so it's having another go now. We can get a break and a hold. We've got another 10 minutes left on this candle, so if we can break these highs and actually hold above that level, we've got half a chance of a crack at ADR today, 125 ADR. That's my TP on that for the aggressive position, and then I'll obviously have a look at doing some drawdown control on that, but it looks like it's failing again. It's trying. Yeah, really struggling up at that high. NASDAQ's out, new high of the day. S&P's trying a high of the day. I think I need to increase these settings. I need to have a play around with this in the strategy tester. Oh, I've got a new feature in this EA, which is amazing, right? Stick it in the strategy tester, and it takes a screenshot of automatically every single ORB, the levels, what the ADR was on the day, and it shows you basically. So this is market closed New York here. So at market closed New York, it takes a screenshot of the entire day session from Frankfurt all the way through. So that's the New York Open, that's the Frankfurt Open. So we can see what happened with every index at the Frankfurt Open and the New York Open. I got a screenshot of every date ever. Exactly what happened. So I can visually... And the reason I've done this is because I want to be able to visually go, right, what happened last non-farm payroll for the last decade? I want to see what happened on non-farm payroll. And each of these is dated. So I can go back in time and look at how every single day played out. Very good for analysis. And obviously I can also see the breaks and how far each one broke as a reward. So I can see visually what the risk reward. Obviously you can do all this in the back tester, but it's much nicer to see it visually. NASDAQ just about to TP. You can do it. I'm just closing that manually on my other platform, not letting that go. That's real money and this isn't. Just in case it doesn't hit TP, because I've been whipsawed out on the Dow. I'm not trading the S&P at the moment. I'm trading these two, and I've been whipsawed out on this, so I just need to get the money back. And I will leave that one running, assuming we do get that TP hit. So break even on the second part of the trade. Go on. There we go. Why has that not moved? Oh, because I've got a trailer running. Yeah. So I am trailing, basically. I say I don't use trailing stops. This is using a trailing stop, but the trailing stop is basically just beyond target, as you can see. So it's not quite break even, but when it hits TP, you'll pretty much break even on the trade. So it just means that there's virtually no risk on the second part of the trade. So NASDAQ today, we're up at pretty much 125 ADR. So I'm looking for 150 ADR as the max today. I don't think we're going to get there on that one. Dow's not going anywhere. So the Dow's formed a massive range in that first 10 minutes. 0.2 is 32. So what's that? That's basically a third of an ADR in those two candles. So Dow's breaking to the downside. So we've got a chance of a run on the Dow. So there's your high, your lower high. So if this breaks that low, looks like structure's going to be short for the day. So it'd be nice to get that one over the line as well. See where we go. Bit of a mishmash today, isn't it? What do long tails on candles mean on the Dow? Which just means that the buyers tried to take control and they failed, or sellers. So basically that's a run up. Yeah, they bought a load of stock, but within the same period of time, the sellers sold more. They carried on selling, but they couldn't sell enough. The buyers bought it all back. Basically, within that move, the banks and institutions would have made a couple of $1 trillion because it's basically gone up, gone down, pulled back. So everything they've bought and sold in that period is now flat. They've just banked a load of cash, basically, because they can, which doesn't help us whatsoever. But just all along wickets is basically a rejection. So it's just all that's telling you is it's a rejection in the market. We tried to go long. We failed because there was too many sellers. We tried to go short. We failed because there's too many buyers. Doesn't tell you anything apart from no buyers and no sellers are in control of the market during that 10 minutes. Exactly the same as if you looked at a 10-minute chart of the Dow now, what you would see is a candle that looks like that. Absolutely no advantage to either party. Next. Inside bar still doesn't help us because we need to see a break of that level. Yeah. So there's your 10-minute candle. There's your next 10-minute candle. Those two combined is an inside bar on that candle. At the moment, we're now putting in an outside bar on that second candle on the 10-minute chart. Absolutely, there's no directional bias whatsoever yet. Just wait for something to start to move. Outside bar. Indecision. Yeah, they couldn't break high. They couldn't break low. No one's in control. As soon as you start to get new lower highs and lower lows forming, then you know you've got control of the market. You wait for a pullback and jump in with them. 10-year 2 is best for trading hours. London session, morning hours from 10 a.m. New York session from 3:30. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty much same as us, basically. A couple of hours out. New Zealand CAD and pound CAD you want to look at. Okay, so break even on that now, on that NASDAQ. New Zealand CAD. So that is an RSI extension this morning. I'm long on that. Took a second entry today down here. First entry was on the RSI extension, which is there. You can't see it. It's behind me head. Second entry there. Yeah, so first entry. Scaling. Second entry there. So looking for a push up into propulsion, basically. Just going to watch those highs. In fact, what I'm going to do is just adjust the TPs on those. So TP, I will move to 175 ADR. So profit on these two positions will be there. The average, that high. So in case we go into a range, which we're doing with a lot of stuff at the moment, double top that range, I'll get out at that double top. Probably do those propulsion gaps and obviously got loads of targets more to the upside. So could well end up here, but it's going to need some New Zealand dollar strength to get there. And pound CAD, pretty much the same thing. Pound basically is a long at the moment. I got out of my pound on Wednesday. Nice easy exit. Not going anywhere at the minute, pound CAD. Overall, you've got to look at the pound CAD being long because the pound is bullish. The Canadian dollar is, I would class it kind of neutral. I reckon we've got an upside to oil. I reckon we've got another $2-3 plus per barrel on oil to come in the next couple of months. that will be bullish Canadian dollar. It depends on what the US dollar does as to whether that drags the CAD with it. And if that's going down, the CAD's going to come down with that. But the pound is bullish. We've got another 0.75% on our interest rates at the moment. Inflation isn't coming down as fast as we want it to. So they will be doing things to rally the pound. So pound should be a long. So this is a nice pullback play long. So yeah, I'll be looking more for longs. There's your reverse alert this morning for a long entry. That's a nice pullback on that one. We were talking about this morning, why the market pulls back a certain amount and then rallies again, because the banks and institutions are buying. Then they're scaling out of a percentage of those buys, depending on how much of them are speculative, commercial, or hedged orders. And then they will add in more, pull back, add in more, keep rinsing and repeating until they've finished, and then they will take profit on the overall move. Market structure shift, back down the other way. Did I see that you're almost completely flat on H1M5 positions? Yeah. Last week, I was in positive on everything. This was green. Really weird. That was green. Yeah, nearly flat. I can't get, I mean, there's just nothing moving. Like I say, everything's doing that, which is great, but nothing's getting extended enough for me to get any entries. But I can't complain. I'm about 23% on the month, basically. So it's a really good month. But can't get a lot of extra risk on. Got my FX smoothie for the day on EU. Yeah, not a good one today. Blender. That's a really nasty. Just nasty today. University of Michigan sentiments just come out. Let's just see if the indices are reacting. Disconnected. 71.6 on the forecast, 72.6. So it's negative US, but I still don't understand why they class that as red news. They asked 500 people some questions about the economy. And then they revise the answers they gave a second time to give you the revised 500 people's opinion. And they expect the market to listen to it. It does move on it, but it doesn't mean anything. So, but as you can see, not a lot of reaction to that at all. Friday afternoon, they're all going to be at the pub in London anyway. Come on, gold, Colonel Pinecode. Where do you want it to go? Long? If I was you, I would get out of that. It's Friday afternoon. What you're going to do is that. And then Monday, it's going to gap. Or do, I don't know, it won't gap. It will just, it might go, might not. But it's just, you're fighting an institutional or fundamental shift in the market here. You might struggle to go long on that. Who knows? Don't you have 20-minute pre-market on the Dow? Yes. So today the Dow was the 20-minute range. Correct. Because I have a minimum and a maximum that I need to be achieved. Yeah. So I want the minimum range to be 250. Yeah, which is 0.8 of an ADR. So I need enough room to actually not get whipsawed at that initial couple of minutes. Ideally, I need a big enough range to actually trade. If it's like that, you could get taken out on the spreads. It's got to be big enough, but I don't want it to be too big. So what this EA is doing is it's going through. That's not the right. This is. Yeah. So here with the Dow, look. Candle 1 range was 240. That's under the minimum of 250. Candle 2 range was 240 under the minimum. Candle 3 range was 240 under the minimum. Candle 4 range was fine. So we're trading candle 4 because the candle 4 range was 320, which is over the minimum of 250 and under the maximum of 562. Yeah. So what this version of the EA does is it looks at the 5-minute candle and goes, is that good enough? No. Let's have a look at the 10-minute range. Let's have a look at the 15. Let's have a look at the 20. Yeah, that's good. If the 20 wasn't right, it would look at the 25. Then it would look at the 30. So it basically finds a range to trade pre-market. But the range has got to be within a set parameter that gives me, first of all, enough chance to not get whipped. So it's got to be big enough to trade, but not too big that if I took the break to get a 1.5 2R, it's got to fly to ADR or something ridiculous. So the maximum I want is 20% of the average daily range as the range, as that initial pre-market range. Yeah. It's a little bit like, you know, you eyeball it. You go, right, we're just about to open. Cool. And we're sitting there like that. And you're like, cool, if I put a pending order there and there, that's a bit tight. Don't like the look of that. That might be a bit better one to take. So that's basically what the EA is doing. It's going, nah, it looks a bit tight, looks a bit risky. Let's go with something a little bit less risky. Today, it doesn't matter what you know, there's absolutely no opening range, pre-market range today that worked. It was, this thing is just a death. You can't win with that. If you try to take a pre-market breakout and it does that, you're dead. Nothing you can do. But it does it every now and again. There's nothing you can do about it, is there? The 5-minute today was there. That was a nice one to take short. But you still haven't hit target because if that's your range, that did not move 1 ADR from your 5-minute range. So therefore, you couldn't have taken that either. You're still in it. You're short. But this is the danger. Yeah, with the ORBEA and the ORB strategy in general, the pre-market is the most dangerous one to take, but also can be the most profitable. Your 5-minute range is always going to be safer. So, you know, again, I'm going to be running loads of tests. This is all being built to test all theories, basically. This is going to be the ultimate kind of scalping system for indices. So I'm just, it's just something I'm building, but it's basically the same as the ORBEA. It does exactly the same thing, just a bit more clever. Not necessarily better, as you can see today. It's not better. You should have taken the 5-minute ORB today on the Dow. You shouldn't have taken a pre-market. But if you'd have known that, you wouldn't have done it, would you? What can't we do? See into the future. So, you know, some days you're going to think, oh, the pre-market was the best thing since sliced bread. Other days you're going to think, oh my God, that killed me. Horses for courses. Long term, it works. Out of the NASDAQ. I'm still in it, Brian. Holding at the minute. Going for that biggie. This is where we've basically opened at ADR. And the fact that we've opened at ADR and slammed through ADR, I think we've got half a chance of getting a decent run today. Although it's going to start running out of steam at some point. So just watching, my TP is all the way up there. So I'm just watching the trailer. I'm going to manually adjust this trailer underneath candle lows when I see what price action's doing. But I mean, that's probably the best place to put stops at the moment. We've just had a new higher high and a higher low put in. So the bulls are firmly in control at the moment. That was literally just a pullback, new bull move. So if it breaks that low now, I really don't want to get involved. I want this to be a screaming rally or I'll just take the profit. And again, these are decisions that the EA I'm building is going to make this, because this is what I would do in the real world. So this is what I want the EA to do. I want it to make these decisions. When that candle closes, if we are doing what we're doing here, tighten up a little bit. No point in But it will get stopped out. You know, that's what I keep saying about trading stops. That's what it's there for, because I'm happy with the profit at that level. If I wasn't, I wouldn't break even it. I wouldn't trade it. DAX, congratulations on new all-time high. Euro CAD, ADR, US dollar Swiss, also ADR. While I've been talking. Yeah, so DAX is out the highs now. Still going. It's looking more and more like we're back in this bull calm market, isn't it? Which is great. The NASDAQ, however, isn't agreeing at the moment, is it? It's trying very hard. S&P is looking good as well. So I think we are back in bull calm now. If you look at the dailies, yeah, this is what we're looking for. The normal market conditions looks very much like we're back there now, especially on the S&P. If you look at the S&P, this is looking very nice, very like we're back in normal trading conditions, which is lovely. So basically just buying dips on the S&P, and we'll start doing that again probably next month from August, because I've been out of it since December last year. Good time to get back in. Ari, loving the ADR reversal indicator. It's good, isn't it? Have you got the dashboard? Dashboard's even better. You don't have to look at the chart, because I'm lazy. How do you calculate the candle range? How do you mean? How do you calculate? So you just measure the candle? Just how do you mean? Is entering after the first candle is more consistent than pre-market? It's different. So with the on the opening range breakout EA, obviously that's a development version, but this is the opening range breakout EA. So you can take multiple ranges, yeah, and you can decide what ranges you take. Each day, this one's plotting all three ranges here. So you can see on the Dow, the green line is the pre-market 15. The pink line here is the 5-minute opening range. That's also underneath there. Yeah. And the blue line is the 15-minute opening range. So typically you take, there's lots of different variations of the opening range strategy which have been traded over the decades. But some people take the pre-market range and take that. Some people take the 5-minute as the opening cash balance. Some people wait for the first 15 minutes and then they class that as the opening cash balance, which is where all the bulk of the orders is done. And then you start the speculative move for the day. There is no right or wrong or no better than others. Some days, some work better than others. But what you find with any pre-market range, whether it be the 5, the 10, the 15, the 30, or whatever it is, whatever range you choose to take, today's a prime example. If the opening cash balance is very volatile, you run the risk of getting a double-ended stop out. And we've had 3 of them in the last couple of days. Just what happens. There's nothing you can do about it. So it's more of a risky one. However, when you get those days where it goes boom, 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 and it flies down to ADR within half an hour, and you make 7 to 10R, those are the days where the 15 minutes will absolutely clear up and they will pay for everything that's ever gone wrong before them. Yeah. The 5-minute opening range is on those days. Let's say, for example, this candle closed like that today on the Dow. Yeah. 5-minute opening range will be so big, it will be very difficult for you to take a trade on it because your stop will be so far away, it will be impossible to get a 1R, let alone a 3R or 4R return on it. So on those days, the 5-minute opening range is virtually impossible to trade. The problem is, obviously, we don't know what that first 5-minute candle is going to be. So you don't know whether or not you should take the pre-market or the 5-minute. But the 5-minute is safer because if it's going to be one of these nasty whippy days, it happens like that. And then you can make a decision, is that too big? If it is too big, don't trade it. If it's like that, that's all right. So let's take a break of that one. And you're less likely after that first 5 minutes to get whipsawed in the 10 and the 15-minute candles. It's more likely that it will start a move in one direction or the other from there. So look at the Dow, the NASDAQ today. Might as well put the NASDAQ on there. Oh, and it's not going to have the opening ranges on it, is it? So if you look at the NASDAQ today, yeah? So there's your pre-market, in this case, 10 or 15. Yeah, so that's the 5, the 10, the 15 pre-market. So whichever of those you took, it's the same level. It's that green line there and that red line there. If you look at the 5-minute, that candle is there and there. Yeah, so what happened was I got whipsawed on that pre-market range. If you took a break of the 5-minute, what happened was after that candle closed, it pushed down inside the range and then pushed out. So you've gone long and you are happy as Larry. If you took the 5-minute range today, you are literally milking it. So today, the 5-minute ORB was the one. And that is the original version of the strategy that I show on the website and I teach on the website, and that is in the video and the set files for it. That is the kind of best one, because when you get that initial volatility and volume coming in, it can be either massively one-sided long, massively one-sided short, or a complete fluctuation, which is your whipsaw. You don't know which of those three outcomes it's going to be. So taking the 5 is a safer variation. However, you will find that you will have a bigger move, and therefore, if you're going to use the opposite end of the stop, it can be harder to make profit. There is no right or wrong, but if you backtest it long term, the edge is there. It's just you're going to have days where it's a pain in the ass, like today. My brain hurts. Brian decided to trade NASDAQ, Dow, and the S&P and 6E on futures. Yeah, that's overkill. But you say if you've got an EA doing it for you, it's not overkill because you haven't got to think about it, have you? Your brain doesn't need to hurt. It does it all. What's your best 3 trades for the day? What do you mean your best 3 trades for the day? What do you mean? My best 3 trades for the day are what I've banked, which is I don't know how to answer this one. I'm just playing with you. Aussie New Zealand is my best trade for the day because I closed it out and made a profit on it. There we go. So that one was a lovely profit. Thank you, Aussie New Zealand. And the other 2 best trades for the day are the ones I've just got into, Aussie US and Aussie CAD, but they're still playing out. Euro Swiss is doing very nicely as well. Thank you very much. In fact, I can bank probably 1% and make 1.5% today. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't think you've watched the Bootcamp, Colonel Pinecone, have you? You'd know how I trade if you had. Doesn't work that way. The best trades for the day are the ones that go green. I'm not in control of when it goes green. The market's in control of that. My job is to get into the market when the conditions are met and then get out when the conditions are right. There's no such thing as a good trade. Good trade is one that doesn't go against you for too long and goes green as fast as possible. What do you mean by opening cash balance? Is that just means mean entry on new volume? So the opening cash balance is it's kind of a not a technical term. It's just it comes from the pits basically. It's the initial influx of orders that make the books for the day, if you like. So when the market bell would ring, you would basically have what's called an open outcry initially, which is like buy, sell, this, that, the other, blah, 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 blah. And basically what that is people getting themselves established in the market, right? So I'm taking a long position on this. I'm taking a short position on that. That all happens like bang, 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 bang. It's all written down in books and That's what they used to call the opening cash, still is, the opening cash balance. So it's basically the initial influx of orders that comes into the market. And this is what you're seeing here. Yeah. This candle and this candle here is your opening cash balance. It's a massive volume. If you look at the volume profile on the chart, yeah, it's this, look. Huge influx of orders for that first 15 minutes. There's way more volume than there was there, and there's way more volume than there was here. Yeah. So there's your highs. That's your initial cash balance going in. So it's just a massive load of orders are getting hit really, really fast. Yeah. It's the open, basically. So what you do with the ORB strategy, and the Dow is a really terrible example today, but what you do with the ORB strategy is you wait for that initial break of the initial cash balance or the opening cash balance. But everybody's got a different opinion of what it is. So some people think it's the first 5 minutes. Some people class it as the first 1 minute. Some people class it as the first 15 minutes. It's just when you think that massive influx of orders is in and it's starting to calm down, that's when you jump on board, because that's when we're waiting for all the orders that have got to be placed for the day because they just have to be done for whatever reason are done. Now the speculators take over, the guys that want to move the market to make money. That's who we're interested in following. So whatever happens in this candle is just an influx of cash. What happens after this is people trying to make money out of the market. And if they're all going long, we go long with them. It's just an opening range breakout. That's why it's called the opening range breakout or the ORB strategy. You're taking a breakout of the opening range. Whatever happens at the beginning, we put that to one side and go, right, where are we going today? That's the whole edge of the strategy. You don't know which way it's going. What happened yesterday has got nothing to do with today. What happened last week's got nothing to do with today. What happened in the last 10 minutes has got nothing to do with where this is going next, because that's happened. Those stocks are bought, those stocks are sold. Where we go next is down to what the next load of guys is going to shout and sell and buy and do all that sort of stuff. So you just go with momentum. It's a momentum breakout strategy. That's all that is. It's just a terminology that's used in the market. I don't even know if it's used much anymore, but it's what it was always has been. Your Dow, your NASDAQ, S&P, for example. Yeah. So with the pre-market today, the 5 minute pre-market range was acceptable. Yeah. The minimum is 30. We achieved a 31. There's your 15 minute range there. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you took the 5 minute or you took the 15 minute today. You triggered long, you triggered short, and then it went. Yeah, so there's your 5 minute opening range. So today, if you'd have taken the 5 minute opening range break instead of the pre-market, you would have triggered short, stopped out on your short, triggered long, and gone with the market. So you'd have stopped out, and now you would have had enough money on the long to pay for the loss on the short. That's the edge. It doesn't matter which way it goes. If it doesn't whipsaw, you will win, as long as it goes in a trend, and it spends 80% of the time moving in a trend, the indices. It's opposite to the FX market. The FX market spends most of its time range bound. Indices spend most of their time trending, because the job of the stock indexes is to show the value of companies' share price, and the company's share price is manufactured to increase because it has to please its shareholders. Therefore, typically stocks trend. But the ORB strategy is designed to take advantage of trending markets. It's been around for donkey's years. It's something I traded over a decade ago. I was taught it ages and ages and ages ago, and I put it to one side and never used it because it was I couldn't make it work because I didn't know what I know now. Now I know what I know now. I can look at this and go, yeah, there's a lovely little edge on this, but I know it's not going to win every day because back then I was looking for something that worked every day. It doesn't exist. And you know it has a long-term edge and it's not going to work every day. You just accept the losses and go, fine, no problem. I made 15 grand last week, so I'm up 2 or 3 grand this week. Yeah. If I was down 2 or 3 grand this week, whatever. I'm going to have another 15 grand week at some point coming up soon. You just have to take your P&L is always going to look like that. Yeah. You can't pick these and eliminate those. Yeah. If we could, we'd just have a P&L that looked like that, wouldn't we? Doesn't happen. So, and you can see the edge playing out here. Yeah. Look at the NASDAQ. The edge is playing out beautifully today. We've run into weekly resistance on the NASDAQ. This is an old weekly level. This is the 2 week ago's high that we rejected yesterday. We're tapping straight into that 2 week ago high again. That propulsion gap there started that. So that's the propulsion gap that started the downward move. That's where they added to the move. Yeah, we're tapping into those sell orders again. So this may well be the rejection point. So get the stop up, because it looks like we might be hitting a high, low, lower high, lower low, M pattern reversal. We go back down again. Might be. If we're not, fine. If we are, I'm going to take it off because I'm happy with the amount of money that I've got. Obviously happier with bigger amounts of money, but Euro Swiss, we've broken the highs. Those are those old levels we looked at. So we have broken that high. We are still struggling though, look. Really struggling to go long at the moment, this euro. I'm not happy with it. Out of 6E, Brian. Good job. Colonel Pinecone. You're just baiting me, aren't you? How do you trade indices like the US 30 and futures manually with the ORB strategy? How do you trade indices manually with the ORB strategy? I'm new to futures and just wanted to know how to get started with prop firms using your strategy. So if you want to trade it manually, the ORB strategy, it's very simple. The EA automates the whole process. If you've got MT4 or MT5, you can automate it with CFDs. In futures, you could build an EA to do this. But basically, all you do with the strategy is exactly what I've probably just explained. So I'm probably just explaining the same thing again. But at the open, you decide what you're going to trade, whether you're going to trade a pre-market range, and then you decide what that range is going to be, or you're going to wait for this initial cash balance to go in, which is, as I say, probably the safer option. Still won't always work, and you might get a massive move and you'll miss it and you'll go, oh, Christ, I wish I'd have taken the 15-minute pre because I'd already be out. You can't control it. You never know what it's going to be. But all you're going to do is you're going to wait for that candle, yeah? And if you've got a countdown timer like we've got in the propulsion gap indicators, propulsion indicator, wait until about 10 seconds before this candle closes and literally just place your pending order and your pending order. So place your buy stop and your sell stop and wait. That's it. Simple as that. And that's what I do in futures. I just wait and then see where it goes. If it breaks short, I will leave that in place and then I will place a stop loss because these orders haven't triggered yet. So when they trigger, I then go, right, how far are we pushing? And then I'll decide where to put my stop because you've got time. If you're doing it manually, you've got loads of time. The EA does it all, obviously, just the stops and does everything for you. But if you're trading it manually, yeah, as long as you're not using ridiculous risk, you just, as soon as that triggers short, we're off. And then you could go, right, I'll put my stop up here. Or actually, I'm going to put my stop there or wherever you want to put it. That's all you're doing. You're literally placing pending orders in the market. Or you don't even have to place pending orders. Yeah, you can just basically hit the sell button on whatever platform you're using. So when it breaks the opening range, as soon as it breaks that opening range, you just go sell. Very simple. It's all explained on the website. If you go to the ORB EA page, the video, or is it there, explains the strategy in full. And there's obviously different variations of it. And it's, as I say, there is no right or wrong way to trade an opening range breakout. But the EA, you can trade them all, you can back test them all, you can see what happens, you know, and see how it plays out. But it's all explained as well on the strategies page on the website. The ORB strategies explained there in detail as well. There's the video. It explains what trend days are, what rotation days are, what parabolic trend days are. These are the ones you make the money on, yeah? This is, look, there's your Frankfurt Open. There's your pre-market. Can't see, can you? There you go. So there's your pre-market 15. There's the pre-market 5. This is the Frankfurt opening candle. So it pushed down and then pushed up and then closed there, right? So your choice is, do I take that 5-minute range and then take the break there? Or if you'd have taken a pre-market range, you'd have gone short, unfortunately stopped out on the short, flipped long and gone. But look at the parabolic move. These are the days you cannot fail but to make 5, 10, 15% profit on your accounts. You don't know which days they're going to be. Nothing can predict it. You're going to get days where the New York Open, it just goes meh. And you're going to get a double-ended stop out. So you're going to have a negative 2R return. Here you're going to have a plus 15R return. Long term, you're going to have a lovely profit. But you can't pick which it's going to be. You never know which it's going to be. So it's a long-term edge. And how you trade it is entirely up to you. But you can trade it totally manual. I just don't like doing things manually because it's easier to let the EA do it for me. Much easier. So closed out NASDAQ. So 2 nice profits on those. So there you got a... Don't even need to do it now, do I? Look. So I've got my lines drawn in. 1R, 2R, 3R, 4R. There's 4R to the upside. So I've got 1 3.5R, 1 3R. So S&P, I stopped out on that one. Dow still short. So this one can still go short. That breaks to the downside. Be a lovely profitable day. So we'll have 2 stop outs there, 2 wins there, which have already paid for those. We've got 1R loss so far on the Dow. If the Dow comes down, I can close that out and make a profit for the day, or I can hold that and try and go for more profit. Wait and see what happens. It said you're not in control of this market. This market on the Dow could collapse now and do 1 ADR to the downside this afternoon. We've no idea what it's going to do. Just go with it. Brian, Loving Beast, pick one index. Oh, Loving Beast. Oh, you're talking to the guy above. Yeah, sorry. That was weird. Loving Beast, pick one index. That confused me. Decide what you want to do, pre-market or open. Have quick fingers, exactly. Look, so you stopped out. If this thing now goes up 200 ADR today, the reason I haven't got it is because I put a trailing stop in the market. We're talking about trailing stops this morning again, weren't we? Trailing stops stop you out. Only ever use them if you're happy to take the money or you need to take the money. And whether you need to take that money is going to be based on what's happened everywhere else. If that had gone 3R and I'd taken it, that had gone 2R and I'd taken it, I would not have a trailing stop on that. It would be sitting at break even. But the decision for the trailing stop has been made by the other 2 because I need to get some money back to pay for that. Yeah. You can't do this in an EA. Yeah? You can't back test this. This is what human beings have to do. You have to manage your positions, manage your portfolio. Same as position trading. Decision I make as whether I close these today will be based on how the day is going, the week's going, the month's going, and what my P&L is. I might leave them running over the weekend. I might close them. Depends where we are at 5:30, 6 o'clock this evening. That decision is made by me. The EA in backtesting can't do that. So backtesting will only show you what's happened in the past. It won't tell you what's going to happen when you're experiencing it. one thing I still seem to confuse is having a good trading plan during the regular market after identifying any relevant trends found in the pre-market, especially for non-news days. One thing I seem to confuse is having a good trading plan during the regular market. I don't know what that means. Your trading plan is what you're going to do for the day. Yeah. So there should never be any confusion. A good trading plan is sticking to your strategy. Yeah. My strategy that I trade in here is an H1 M5 mean reversion strategy using the market reversal alerts EA. So the rules are, when we get an H1 RSI extension, I drop down to M5, wait for a market structure reversal alert, and I go long. That's my plan. And the EA executes my plan flawless for me. During the day, my plan is to watch my P&L, and anything that gets to a decent level of green, I put it over there and realize the profit. Anything that goes into drawdown too much, I deal with that position. That's my plan. There is nothing, it can't get any simpler than that. Set rules to execute based on market condition and signal. Monitor. That's all you do. That's all trading is. It's not exciting trading. It's very boring. I sit here all day, like today, doing nothing because there's nothing to do. When this market is going sideways, you are literally, look at the Euro Swiss this week. For the last 3 days, I've just been watching the Euro Swiss. Do nothing. How exciting is that? Become a trader, they said. It'd be exciting, they said. You'll see the markets, they said. Yeah, damn right I'm seeing the markets going nowhere. Look at that week. I got into a trade here on the 11th of July. Since the 11th of July, it's moved down for 3 days, gone sideways for 2 weeks, gone down for a day, and now gone sideways for 3 days. There's no trading plan that deals with that, is there? It's just watching it, waiting. I'm waiting for the profit take move to start, which it looks like it's getting underway. So this is when it comes exciting. When I get up to here, the most exciting part of my day is when that says plus 0.8%, and I go, woohoo! That's my car payment. It's as exciting as it gets. Which is why I developed the ORB strategy, to keep me occupied during the day, because it's another nice way of making money, but it's not anywhere near as consistent as position trading. It's a stop loss strategy. Of course, it's not consistent. It can't be, can it? It uses a stop loss. It was an interesting weekend. Another 500 in profit. Trade small, learn along the way. Cool. Good job, Peter. Taylor wants to let you know that this stream is very good. Cool. Your whole market structure knowledge is superior. Cool. Good. As long as you're learning stuff, that's what it's all about. That's why I'm here. Exciting only in the movies, yeah. DiCaprio makes it look exciting, yeah. But the reason DiCaprio made it look exciting wasn't because of the trading. It was because of the amount of money he was making so quickly, wasn't it? Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street was all about market you can't trade anymore because it was non-electronic. But that was all about making money. The trading part of it, it's not exciting, is it? What were they doing? Picking up the phone and going, hi, I've got this stock. It's absolutely guaranteed to go through the roof. How do you fancy some? You only want 500? Oh, that's a shame. I've got 1,000 going here and I can give it to you for a slightly better price. You want it? Yeah, brilliant. Bang. Sold it. What did you buy it for? 2 cents less. That's exciting, isn't it? It's trading, isn't it? You buy at one level, you sell at the other. There's nothing exciting about it. The most exciting thing is me opening up the P&L every morning. That's what I live for. I come to my desk every morning and I open my P&L, I look at it and I go, put that over there, grab that, put that down there, grab that, put that down there. Right. That's it. And I literally could go off mountain biking all day, come back, and then see what the EA's got me into next and see if there's any more green. That's my job. It's so boring. It really is boring. That's why I spend my time in here, because I've got nothing else to do. Might as well teach people what to do. I think on Fridays you should do Lambo's Spotlight segment. Or maybe a roast. Yeah. I'll cook a roast for you. I know what you meant. A different type of roast. So, welcome to Lambo Fridays. What should we talk about? This is a Lambo. That is John Wick. That is my logo. Lambo Fridays. Yeah, I'm just trying to fill the time. We don't call Lee the Beast for no reason. At least I'm not called the GOAT. That's the worst thing, isn't it? The greatest of all time. And they abbreviate it to GOAT. So you've got somebody that's the greatest of all time. What do you call him? A GOAT. Not very much of a compliment, is it? Anyway. The one I found interesting in the movie, Call the Long Shot. Call the Long Shot. I've not heard of that. That's a new one on me. Sports bar in Liverpool. 2019. This is about trading. Oh, that one. Yeah, I have seen this. Yeah, no, I've seen this. Yeah, it's good. I like him. He's funny. Anyway, we are not bored. We are watching you. I'm a great entertainer. That's not my purpose, but I'm glad you're entertained. Are you not entertained? The Gladiator. Thank you for your explanations. What should be the initial budget? Around 2K with the prop firm in futures for indices with the ORB. ORB, it doesn't matter what your bank balance is with the opening range breakout EA. So when you're trading ORBs, you basically will set yourself a risk. So you can set yourself a risk as a amount of money or a percentage of your balance, basically. So all you've got to think about is if I've got 10K, for example, you risk a certain amount of that. That's it. And you decide what that is. So risking 1% obviously buys you 100 trades. Risking 5% buys you less trades. Brain's gone. 20 trades. Maths. Yeah. So obviously the more you risk, the less trade opportunities you've got. So if you got to think losing runs. Think worst case scenario. If you had 20 losing trades in a row, I mean, it's not going to happen. You're not going to get 20 losing trades in a row, but you'll blow your account in 20 losing trades if you risk 5% per trade. If you got 4 7R returns in a row, which I did last week, you've more than doubled your account. But that isn't going to last forever. Yeah. So what you risk is entirely up to you. The strategy works when the strategy works, the same as all strategies. The advantage of it is we have an explosive move that we know is guaranteed to happen at a time of day. Every other strategy you will trade out there is hoping something will move at some time by someone. The ORB strategy, we know 2:30 UK every day, US indices are going to go nuts. 8 o'clock every morning, UK. The Frankfurt market and the FTSE will go nuts, the DAX and the FTSE. That's the reason it's so good. Normal breakout strategies get a lot more false moves. Opening range breakout is a massive stock purchase happening at the same time, which is why it works. So you can risk what you like on it. You can try and compound your account by risking 5% an entry if you want to. If I'd have been risking 5% an entry last week instead of 1% an entry, I would have paid my mortgage off for the entire year. So risk what you want. There's no minimum, but just bear in mind, whatever you put in there, you could lose it all if you get a massive losing streak. Nothing you can do. But if you've got 2K, risk $100 a trade, split it into 2, risk $50 or £50 on those 2 entries. So take 2 longs, 2 shorts. 0.5% on the longs, 0.5% on the shorts. If you get hedged on it, you've got 2% risk on. One of them is more than likely going to go the way that you want. If it just flies out, you can make 3%, 4% of your account. Depends what you need to make a day. The question you should be asking yourself is, how much do I need to make a month? Yeah, so look at my P&L. This is position trading rather than ORB, but I make on average 0.5% to 1% a day. Yeah, 0.5% a day is 10% a month. So if you look at making 10% a month and you've got a 100 grand account, you're earning 10 grand a month. Is that enough? If so, you need 100 grand. Yeah. If you need to make 10 grand a month and you've only got 50 grand, you need to double your risk. Doubling your risk is twice as risky. Yeah. So it's all to do with how much money you've got available to you as to whether you make money. Euro Swiss, ADR, we're up in propulsion. But up to you. You want a good movie of trading? The Big Short. Yeah, Big Short's good as well. Although you've typed The Big Shore, but I know what you mean. The Big Short. That's a really good film. There's loads of good films. Trading. EU, GC, and NC looking good. Yeah. So Euro, US dollar. If you took the longs. So that was extended on the hourly, but that's an ADR hit today. So there's your ADR reversal. So there's ADR. So, sorry, that's not ADR. It's an ADR hit to the upside today. But if you trade in that pullback. So ADR to the upside, you'll be in drawdown at the moment. Would have been a short this morning. New Zealand dollar CAD. That's nearly back in profit as well. Just about to get the 1 hour reversal alert trigger. There's your W. So market structure shift back up to the upside. Weak Canadian dollar by the looks of things. Oil may be tanking. Oof, whipsaw. Yeah, bit of volume coming on oil. We might have had some news on oil. No, that was University of Michigan by the looks of things. So I'm still in the Dow short. That's all I've got on. Stops there. So either this is going to stop out or we're going to come back down. $4,000 on the day. Yeah, it got hit on the DAX this morning as well, didn't it? Double-ended stop out on the DAX. So it's going to be a losing day today. Unless the Dow pumps down. So if the Dow comes back down towards ADR today, that's 1,500. 2.2. So it'll be about 2.2% drop today. Yeah. Afternoon, Minpo. I'm about to go. You're late. You started at 2:20. Get a stamp in your late card book. So that's all I've got for you today, really. Indices have been a bit of a pain in the backside today and yesterday, to be honest. It's been a bit of a whippy one, which is surprising considering how much earnings we've got out. But they're not looking at buying or selling. They're looking at just entering and exiting immediately by the looks of things. So this week's obviously been manic movement up and down because of all the interest rates, the inflation figures we've had. Next week, Euro on Monday, which is it's only the flash CPIs. So we might get a bit of movement on the Euro, but pretty much a dead day on Monday. Aussie dollar rates on Tuesday, we are forecasting increase. That was 4.1 last week. Pretty sure that was forecast 4.1 last week. I think they might have changed the forecast on the Aussie to be more bullish. I'm pretty sure I said, didn't I, last week, that that's ridiculous that they're going to keep the interest rate the same. They should be increasing it. But anyway, yeah, so that's 4.35. So that's Tuesday morning. So movement on the Australian dollar, probably now bullish. So New Zealand and Australia bullish on Tuesday. PMIs on Tuesday as well, and the unemployment rate for the New Zealand dollar overnight. So that's an important one. So we've got two big New Zealand Australian news events, and it's non-farm payroll week next week. So we've got the unemployment rate for the US, which is the other biggie. And then we've also got the Bank of England rate, which is 5.25. Unlikely we're going to get a 5.5. So again, bullish moves on the pound. So we should have Aussie bullish, pound bullish, depending on what happens on Friday. We'll find out on Thursday with the unemployment claims what the rate will be, but bullish US as well, potentially next week. As everything's coming down on the US, unemployment should come down as well. So we should see some more bullishness. So it should be a good week next week for movement. So we'll see what happens, but that's what we've got next week. But Monday's a bit of a dead one. So earnings wise, there's loads more earnings next week. There's no aftermarkets tonight. So Monday is earnings free. We've got pre-market, we've got Arista, but Tuesday's when we get some more volatility coming. So it might be a quiet day Monday across the board in FX and on the indices because there's no stock announcements coming out. So we got Pinterest, Starbucks, Uber, Virgin, Etsy. There's just tons next week as well. So it's another really busy week. So we should get some good movements as well. Apple next week as well. And Coinbase, I'm not sure their stock's going to be doing well this time. But yeah, so we'll have a look at all of that next week. I'm not around on one day next week. I think it's Tuesday. I'm not here. So I'll let you know in Telegram. If you're in Telegram, not in Telegram, get in Telegram. Link's going along the bottom. But I'll let you know in Telegram which day it is I'm taking off next week. I've got one day off. We're off to a day out doing bits and pieces with the kids. So yeah. ADR, which one is that, please? What do you mean? All the indicators you can see on my screen are here on the website. Okay, so that's all I've got for you today. Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. I'll be back on Monday, same time, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session, 2:20 for New York. And then we'll see where we go next week, do an analysis, and yeah, try and bank some more money. Anything you got in profit this evening that you want banked, get it down there. So it'd be nice to be flat for the weekend. So I'll post in Telegram anything that I'm shutting. But I think Euro Swiss, I'll probably take off the aggressive drawdown control position. Apart from that, we're over ADR now. So nearly at target, 125 ADR. I'm going to auto close this aggressive position anyway. So see if we can get there today. All right, so have a good weekend. I will see you guys next week. Anything you need, come in Telegram. I'll see you then.